Welcome to my video. Today we're going to take a detailed look at the Slugterra cartoon from start to finish. Let's begin. But first, a little context. Eli Shane travels from the surface world to the underground Slugterra because his father, Will Shane, was an important slug slinger. Eli decides to follow in his father's footsteps and become a slug slinger himself. His job is to protect Slugterra from evil and keep it safe. Years ago, Will Shane and his rival, Blakk, were training under an invincible master named Shawnai. Now, Blakk is the main villain of the series, and you'll wonder why he and Will Shane are enemies. Let's hear it from Black's mouth. When Blakk was young, he and his father were working together, but the Vigo gang came and threatened to kill them. So his father left Blakk alone and ran away. So he begins to live under Vigo's orders, but things take a turn when he crosses paths with Master Shawnai. With Shane's training and ambition, the wrist grows stronger and returns to the cave. He takes over the cave. He and Shane have a duel, but he loses, so Shane kicks him out. He finds the dark water that turns normal slugs into horrible monsters and tries it on himself. He accidentally opens a portal into deep caves. That's when his skin turns completely white and he makes a deal with Grimstone, the emperor of the deep caves. Diablos team up with Nacho and become the first ghoul slug. Blakk uses it to defeat his rival, Will Shane. Let me tell you how he defeated Will Shane. Will Shane and the infamous Dr. Blakk engage in a heated duel. Initially, Shane seemed to have the upper hand, but Blakk pulls out a ghoul slug and turns into a time bomb. He opens a portal into the deep caverns and pulls Will Shane through. Blakk escapes. Seconds before he falls through the portal, Burpee, his most trusted slug, fires it to inform his son. Surfacing, Burpee finds Eli and leads him to the letter. Reading the letter, Eli tells him to wait until he's 15. When Eli Shane turns 15, his journey begins. 5 years later, when Eli turns 15, he descends into the underworld of Slugterra and retrieves the necessary equipment from his father's bunker. His adventure leads him to name his mecha Lucky. His adventure then begins when he meets a driver named Pronto, and soon they're off on a quest to collect slugs for ammunition. On the way, he sees a bully and wants to help, but without his knowledge, he is ambushed. However, a girl saves him, but she leaves before he can learn her name. By the way, the girl's name is Trixie. Finally, Eli reaches a duel that Slug can win. Here, Slug will be able to win by defeating his opponents. Eli makes friends with Trixie here. Eli, Trixie, and Pronto face challenges in the tournament. Eli gradually improves his ammunition and builds bonds with his slugs. The Shane gang, including Trixie and Pronto, wins several victories. In the next episode, the Shane gang decides to upgrade their equipment. However, the shopkeeper only accepts slugs as payment, causing Eli to reluctantly trade jewels. They soon learn that the shopkeeper is supplying Dr. Blakk with slug. After a duel with Black's man, Black's henchman Jules escapes with the other slugs, and the Shane gang fears that Jules is the ghoul slug. Pronto, Cord, and Trixie decide to help by tunneling underground and breaking into the castle. Eli distracts Blakk with a duel and allows the gang to successfully rescue all the captured slugs. When Pronto tries to catch a frost crawler leech, she accidentally wakes up all the slugs in the cave, causing everything to freeze. The Shane gang are nearly trapped, but are saved when Eli uses the Burpee to melt the ice. They acquire a frost crawler as a new member of their team. However, Eli's blaster is damaged in the process. While searching for the famous blaster expert Red Hook, the Shane gang encounters a terrorizing Hully gang. They defeat the Hully gang, and a slug named Doc is about to be crushed when Eli saves him. Red Hook initially refuses to fix Eli's blaster. However, when he realizes that Eli is Shane's son, he changes his mind and gives him a new blaster. During another duel with the Hully gang, they discover that Doc is a healing slug. In the next episode, Pronto sees an advertisement that informs her that the slugs will be made more powerful and advanced. With this information, the Shane gang sets off to the club mentioned in the ad. After delivering the slugs, they take a vacation. But when they return, they realize that the slugs are not normal. They learn that they've become more powerful, but after a while, this power has fallen. After a battle to stop this, they defeat the club and continue on their journey. In the next episode, Eli learns that there's a mecha competition and discovers that the winner has a chance to win the crystal leech that appears once a century. To participate in this contest, Shane goes there and meets Vance Bolt. Waze Bolt is the top winner of the contest, and his mecha is made by Blakk Industries. Slug's. Eli becomes his rival, thinking that Vance Bolt will take the leech and give it to Blakk. Pronto, on the other hand, sees his arch-rival Seedoy and challenges him to a race. At the end of the race, Vance Bolt comes first and takes the leech. However, Eli gives it to him because he competes so well with him. However, the series gives us a twist here and we learn that Seedoy is Blakk's agent, but they defeat Seedoy too. The two brothers, Luck and Loot, fight a group of slug slingers using Ghoul Slug, but the Shane gang comes to their rescue and defeats the brothers. However, the group's mecha malfunctions. They talk to the fancy slugs about getting their cave back to normal, and the Shane gang decides to help them. They set off for the cave with their fancy slugs. However, Luck and Loot stop them and try to hinder their mission. They find another path, and here they encounter the Shadow Clan, but with Burpy's help, they get past the Shadow Clan. Eli, the doctor, throws the leech into the dark water, and the fancy slugs follow the doctor, jump in, and destroy the dark water, bringing the cave back to life. In this episode, Trixie convinces the gang to capture a very rare and previously uncaptured leech. But other hunters arrive, because the rich have put a bounty on the leech. So many hunters come and try to get the leech. During this time, Eli tries to save Enigmo from dangerous traps and protect him from other hunters. After defeating the hunters, they go to the rich people, and the rich people offer them a lot of money. However, Eli does not give them Enigmo, and they continue on their way. The Shane gang follows Dr. Blakk's troops carrying information, but they are ambushed and attacked by Blakk's men. They are rescued by a slug slinger named Twist. Meanwhile, there's a slug named Loki who has a very rare leech of his own. They invite Twist to eat him and devise a plan where Loki's ability to transform into a ghoul slug allows them to break into a ghoul slug warehouse. Loki infiltrates by creating the illusion of a ghoul slug, and the Shane gang breaks in after rescuing the ghoul slugs there. Then they encounter Nacho, are chased by Nacho, but manage to elude him and celebrate. However, at the end of the episode, we see Twist making a deal with Dr. Blakk. In the next episode, the Shane gang plan to rob a train carrying Dr. Blakk's dark water, but Diablo Nacho ambushes them and corners them. Meanwhile, Cord realizes that Twist is working with Dr. Blakk and warns Eli. A duel between Eli and Twist ensues, and Twist eventually escapes. At the end of the episode, Dr. Blakk sends Diablo Nacho to the deep caves and makes Twist his chief butler. Quentin, an evil scientist, attacks the scientists, arguing that all slugs should be cleansed of slugs and replaced with robo-slugs. The scientists seek help from the Shane gang. Eli confronts Quentin. Quentin uses his machines to overpower and defeat all of Eli's slugs. Quentin then confronts Eli with a large robot and defeats him. The Shane gang imprison Quentin, but he later accepts Dr. Blakk's offer to work for him. Now, let's remember Shanai, the famous invincible slug master. He invites Eli to meet him to train him. Eli, along with Trixie, Cord, and Pronto, arrive at the Shanai training competition where, after a series of eliminations and intense duels, he gathers a large number of slugs for the honor of becoming his student. Eli makes it to the finals with a slug shore, but finds out that it is Twist in disguise. He tells Shanai about him and warns her that he's unsafe. Shane is convinced that Twist is evil and eliminates him from the competition. However, Dr. Blakk arrives later and battles Shane. Shane defeats Dr. Blakk, but Twist is revealed to be the real Dr. Blakk. The real Dr. Blakk shoots Shanai in the back with Slug. Mortally wounded, Shanai informs Shane about the fusion of the slugs. Dr. Blakk attacks Eli with ghoul slugs, but Eli fuses by firing two slugs at the same time and defeats Dr. Blakk. The Shane gang goes to Red Hook to try to produce the fusion blaster for Eli's work, but he tells them it is not possible, only with a crystal. The Shane gang goes to the junkyard to find this crystal and are confronted by the Guardians of the Junkyard. The Shane gang duel with boss Amber, and Amber loses the duel but chases after the Shane gang. The Shane gang escapes and gives the crystal to Red Hook. Red Hook begins work on the double-barreled blaster. Dr. Blakk works on the Gatling gun. In the next episode, Dr. Blakk corners the Shane gang, and the Shane gang is forced to fall into the hole. The Shane gang find a force field there under approach by the Shadow Clan. He tells them that this place prevents the monsters from the deep caverns from crossing into Slugterra. He explains that the slugs there were the Guardian slugs, but they are no longer powerful and are falling one by one. The Shane gang therefore goes to the deep caves, where they meet Brimstone. They try to escape from the deep caves and fire slugs, but the slugs are useless here. So the slugs jump into the dark water and transform themselves into ghoul slugs. The slugs fight with Brimstone in their dark minds and stop them from trying to break the force field there. Thanks to Dr. Slug, the ghoul slugs are restored, and Dr. Slug becomes the Guardian Slug. One day, as Dr. Blakk's train is heading towards Slugterra with destructive force, the Shane gang shows up to stop the train from reaching the Luminum Cave and tries to stop them. Eli fires the completed double-barreled blaster, but all the surrounding slugs are stunned by the fire and the shot fails. Eli is then kidnapped by the Shadow Clan. The Shadow Clan warns Eli that slugs with incompatible souls should not be fired at the same time. Eli realizes that he can see the souls of the slugs with his Enigmo and can now double fire. The Shane gang confronts Dr. Blakk. Dr. Blakk tries to stop them with the Gatling gun, but even that doesn't work. Eli finishes Dr. Blakk off with a fusion shot. At the end of the episode, Diablo Nacho had escaped from the deep caves in the previous episode and confronts Dr. Blakk for revenge. Dr. Blakk is captured and imprisoned, and the Shane gang sets off to take him to the safest prison. Quentin attempts to rescue Blakk using powerful Titan tanks. After a series of battles, Burpee makes a remarkable discovery, pushing the limits and reaching a new level of power known as the Megamorph transformation. After defeating Dr. Blakk, the Shane gang throws him into the most guarded prison. While in prison, Dr. Blakk tells his life story and reveals what a difficult childhood he had, how he changed after finding the Dark Water, and the deal he made with Brimstone. Meanwhile, the Shane gang fights with those who want to rescue Dr. Blakk, but then Diablo's Nacho arrives and rescues Dr. Blakk. The Shane gang then thinks about their plan. The Shane gang plans a raid on Dr. Blakk, but their plan fails when they learn that Black's slugs are megamorphs. The Shane gang decides to go to Red Hook for help. However, they sense something strange about Red Hook and learn that Twist is in disguise. With Red Hook captured, the Shane gang decides to go after Dr. Blakk. However, only one person must do it. Eli is purposely captured and imprisoned. Burpee escapes and they find Red Hook. They learn that Red Hook is being used to make the Megamorph blaster, and they see that Dr. Blakk has built a Terra portal. This portal will open a door between the deep caverns, and Slugterra will spell the end of Slugterra. With the help of Trixie, Cord, and Pronto, they manage to escape and return home, reunited as a team. Dr. Blakk is almost ready to build the portal to Terra. Meanwhile, in preparation for the raid, the Shane gang is able to turn most slugs into megamorphs thanks to the blaster given to them by Red Hook. The Shane gang sets out for the raid, but they're confronted by Diablo Nacho, who forces their hand. However, with the help of the Shadow Clan, they defeat Nacho and reach Dr. Blakk. The portal is already opened, and the monsters from the deep caverns are pouring into Slugterra. Eli and Dr. Blakk battle it out, and in the end, Eli makes a clever move, sending Blakk into the deep caverns and closing the portal with the help of Dr. Slug. The Shane gang goes to the Far East Cave with a message. Although they first think it's Dr. Blakk, they see someone who's actually Dark Slinger. Dark Slinger immediately demonstrates his power, igniting the dark energy leech that is Dr. Slug turned Ghoul Slug and can turn all slugs into ghouls. However, it is not Dark Slinger who controls this slug, but the slug itself. And like a parasite, it has the power to control whoever it possesses. A battle ensues between the Shane gang and the Dark Slinger, and they're overwhelmingly defeated. Not even Burpee can do anything against the Dark Energy Slug. Slug has found himself a new slinger, Eli. So he becomes attached to him and begins to control him. Meanwhile, Dr. Slug has the misfortune to fall down a hole. The Shane gang is forced to fight Eli, but Burpee finds Dr. Slug and pulls him out of the hole. Dr. Slug begins to heal Eli, and an epic battle ensues. In the end, Slug emerges from Eli's body and is defeated. At the end of the episode, we meet Junji, the Far Eastern champion who survived the Dark Energy Leech. The next day, the slugs train with Junji, but some of the slugs, especially the air slugs, are transformed into ghoul slugs. Junji explains that when he turns the head slugs into ghouls, all slugs of that element become ghoul slugs. The ghoul slug goon is the one who did this. Therefore, the Shane gang immediately take action so that the other slugs do not become ghouls. Surprisingly, Goon's new host is Eli's father, Will Shane. But the Shane gang rallies the elemental slugs and uses their powers to reverse the damage. Will Shane destroys the Goon by sending it into deep caves, and eventually Eli and his father are reunited. The Shane gang and Junji embark on a new adventure through a portal. However, the people there blame Junji for the long absence because evil forces have taken over the place. The Shane gang must face a new villain, the Emperor, who seeks to exploit the elemental slugs for evil purposes. Yang, known as a skilled archer in ancient China 88 generations ago, faces off against the power-hungry and magic-wielding first emperor of China, who seeks to conquer all lands and achieve immortality. Sadly defeated, Yang was dragged unconscious to a secret place, en route near the Peach Blossom Spring Cave. Together with his people, Yang encountered friendly inhabitants and slugs, and became the first Eastern champion with his newfound slug fu power. But A treacherous criminal revealed the cave's location to the Emperor, sparking a fierce battle. The battle between Yang and the Emperor resulted in the Emperor falling into the dark water, granting him immortality. But it also turned him into a soulless being. The Emperor then assembled a dark army of stone warriors, but was unable to surface due to a protective gate sealed with dark energy. About 2,000 years later, a descendant of Junji became the new Eastern champion. Junji's mind is corrupted by the Emperor using the goon, turning him into a dark slinger until he's rescued by his friend. In the present day, a character named Dai Fu observes the worlds and seeks advice from the Emperor's status, laughing ominously and hinting at a potential return. Lady Dai Fu uses this opportunity to brutally manipulate him. She sets a trap for the Shane gang using the Iron Warrior. To escape the Iron Warrior, the Peach Blossom is destroyed and Dai Fu captures the Emperor's sword, one step closer to reforming the Emperor. Dai Fu uses the Emperor's sword to resurrect the Emperor and orders the lords to create more Iron Warriors for the ultimate armor. The Emperor then instructs Dai Fu to kill the Eastern champion Junji, and a battle between the two factions begins. But the Iron Warrior's superiority is proven and the Shane gang is imprisoned. They negotiate with the Emperor, bringing 2 more Iron Warriors, but the problem is that Dai Fu must sacrifice his life force to strengthen them. Dai Fu is actually an honorable woman named Lian who taught Junji the art of Slug Fu, until she's rescued by one of the Slugten who is corrupted by the Emperor to save her. The Shane gang tries to intervene, but it is too late. The Emperor's army is in full force. Eventually, the Shane gang is defeated, but he's rescued by one of the slugs. He teleports to safety. After Dai Fu sacrifices his life force, the gang uses the slugs to heal him, and surprisingly, he returns to his original personality as Lian. Leaving him to recover, they briefly manage to level the playing field, but return to the Eastern Cave for a crucial showdown against the Emperor, backed by a coalition of allies. With Lian back in the fight, the balance shifts in their favor, and in a joint effort, they successfully throw the Emperor back into the protective gate, sealing it. The Shane gang and their allies commemorate their victory and protect Slugterra from the Emperor's sinister ambitions, and the series ends. I've told you the whole story of Slugterra. It took me a long time to make this video. In fact, I watched the whole series from start to finish, so you can support me by liking the video. We'll see you next time. See ya!